I am fresh off of listening to Mikel Arteta's press conference pre-Liverpool, and the man had. There's something about these press conferences that annoys me, and usually it's the kind of questions the people who get to sit in front of the managers, not just with Mikel Arteta actually, just in general, English reporters tend to look at too many soft factor questions. What does this mean? And I guess they're trying to be more on the storytelling side of things versus focusing on the football. But nonetheless, there were some updates. And, big trip to Anfield. Arsenal isn't one there since Mikel Arteta was playing in the team with Podolski and Santi Cazorla and the lot in 2012, I think. I remember they were wearing like a weird kind of like purple and black kit that the likes of which I haven't seen again. So yes, the update on Bukayo Saka is that, as we all knew, that he's going to be out for some time. The hope is that it's going to be not too long after the international break that he returns. No surgery needed on his hamstring. It is the other hamstring, not the one that he had hurt last season. So there's a little bit of hope there. Obviously, you want to have Saka when you go to Anfield. You want to have Saka for all the big games. And Kai Havertz, it came out yesterday that he's going to be going, he's going to go under the knife and have a surgery. He posted something before Arteta could even talk to the media. He had posted something on his own social media that, that's a small setback. I'm paraphrasing here, and that he'll be back soon. So Havertz, Saka out at least for. I think Saka will probably be the likely one to come back sooner after 2 because, once you've done surgery, I expect that Havertz is going to be, out a little longer than a month, I would imagine. And then it also turns out that Ben White and Christian Norgard also likely misses for Anfield. And Martin Odegaard has a small chance of making it, but that one remains to be seen. My hunch, I think Odegaard will be on the bus. Whether he plays from the start or not, that's another story. We'll come back and talk about that actually, about like what Arsenal can do having lost Odegaard potentially and Bukayo Saka. There's also, Teta couldn't be dragged into talking about this because he always never talks about players that don't play for Arsenal yet. But Jakob Kivior, that's who I wanted to talk about. Jakob Kivior is looking very likely that he might go to FC Porto. It seems like Arsenal and Porto have agreed a structure that Arsenal are happy with, where he would go there on a loan deal with an obligation for a purchase next summer, and then Porto would play like a small loan fee of like a 2 million euros this summer, and then pay 17 next summer, and then I think the deal would rise up to 27 million euros, and then there would be a sell-on clause because Porto are a club that do sell really well. They just never pay a lot. I know a lot of Arsenal fans are not happy with what Arsenal are getting for Jakub Kivior in this deal. However, FC Porto do not pay a lot of money traditionally for transfers. This would make this deal would be their second highest paid fee for a player that they've bought. And that other top fee was a player they bought actually from Andrea Berta at Atletico, the striker. I forgot his name, but he's a player who was at Porto that they bought from Atletico Madrid. So it seems like a good deal if it does go through. But Arsenal right now, though, are holding off on making that deal go through because they are hoping to secure a replacement before they can sanction a deal for Kivio to leave. So they are basically they're in a good situation here. They're not looking to sell Kivio, but they're trying to help the player out. But at the same time, in trying to help the player out, they are also trying to make sure they don't screw themselves over and let him go and then not have cover, because Ricardo Calafiore's health is not something at this point that has been able to be trusted. Arsenal have not been able to trust him to stay fit. And hello, guys in the chat. Please do share your thoughts, and if you have any questions, I'll try to get to some questions later. Please like, subscribe, share, whatever makes sense for you. And if you're not a football nerd like I am, please pass on the information about my channel to friends of yours who do like football and like to engage. I'm fairly new at this. I'm not an expert, so I'm just here to connect with the broader footballing community out there. So yeah, the updates based from Arteta were about injuries, and there's no real news there besides that Odegaard has maybe a slight chance of playing at Anfield. Moving on from Arsenal though, because this is a crazy time now in the transfer window. Chelsea, what are Chelsea doing? They are signing on loan Buonanotte, who was a Brighton player who had been out on loan, and now Chelsea are getting him on loan. Chelsea just stockpile talent that they have so many players, really good players, but I just don't understand what it is that they are trying to do with this Buonanotte one. They were also close to signing this kid who it seems like now is going to Tottenham Hotspur, and maybe that deal was hinged on the fact that Chelsea are getting Garnacho from Manchester United. A deal for Garnacho has been agreed, and I don't know about that one. I think Garnacho is a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think Garnacho is a good player. But is it what Chelsea needs? I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I do watch football quite a bit. And I watch their games. What Chelsea need, in my opinion, and if you're a Chelsea fan and you have, you can please feel free to share your opinions. But for me, what I think Chelsea needs in order to really challenge properly, they need a couple of old heads. They need a couple of guys who are going to grab that locker room or that changing room, dressing room, whenever it's hard, like a couple of lieutenants to help Maresca. They are a stacked squad. Their depth is as good as anybody, if not the best. I know I'm very confident and high on Arsenal's depth, but I think Chelsea have the best number 1 to 25 player for player against any team. But that's not how you win. You win by having probably in your best 11 the best 3 to 4 players in the game. They have to be in your best 11 in almost all the games you play in. Like Liverpool, for example, last year, they didn't have the deepest of squads. But you know what they had? They had an all-time Premier League great in Virgil van Dijk. They had an all-time Premier League great in Mo Salah and Alisson. And then I can't forget him, Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's how you win. You need to have, like outside of those guys, if they didn't stay fit throughout all of last year, Liverpool are in trouble. They didn't have the best depth, but they had in almost every game they played in. Liverpool. Hey, Chu Kwan. Sorry if I butchered your name. Please subscribe, share, like, comment, and if you have any questions you have for me, I'll try to get to them later on in the next few minutes. But like that's how you win, like Van Dijk, Trent, Alisson in goal. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And yeah, like if if you enjoy the content, please share with other people. Like I'm obviously very new to all of this. I'm not some YouTube guru. Don't get paid to do this. I'm doing it because I like connecting with fellow humans who love sports, and yeah, I enjoy it. So I'm doing it. And so yeah, I think Chelsea need a for me a bunch of senior citizens. Maybe three, and then they're going to be challenging for the Premier League over the next few years for sure. This might be the year or two that they stay there, but I at the moment would actually rank Tottenham Hotspurs. And I hate saying this as an Arsenal fan, but like Tottenham Hotspur's age profile balance is better than Chelsea's. I think where Chelsea are better is probably like, again, they have a deeper squad than Spurs. But Tottenham have just signed Xavi Simons from Red Bull Leipzig, who was Chelsea bound. And I'm like, you don't need another 22-year-old. What you need is a couple of senior pros who can help mold these young guys and help them be professionals. And as I can see already, I was very low on Noni Madueke, but I was abusive when Arsenal signed him. But I can see with other people who are like more senior pros around him, he can toe the line and play within a structure and be a member of a team and not be disruptive or seem petulant or, the things that people saw from him in the first couple of seasons he played with Chelsea in the Premier League. He's in his third year now. I'm sure part of it is growth and maturity. He may have been still balanced had he stayed at Chelsea. However, what I think is missing there is that they don't need Buonanotte. Like they're probably going to flip him and sell him. Speaking of young talents, though, I'm very, very happy that this player is back in the Premier League. Tyler Dibling to Everton. I think Everton signing that kid is probably one of the best decisions made in this summer transfer window by any club. Everton are trying to build a new project under David Moyes. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa, but I live in the United States now. So yeah, like I think Tyler Dibling to Everton is a really cool sneaky signing. If I'm honest, I would have probably liked him at Arsenal, not instead of Noni, but like at that price, maybe without the sell-on clause. I think it would have been really cool. Oh yeah, I've never been to Vietnam. I would like to check it out sometime. I have a really good friend who teaches out there and is now started a family and seems to like it. His wife is Vietnamese. But yeah, the Chelsea youngster thing is the only thing I think that's going to prevent them from like maybe winning. I know it kind of sounds crazy having seen them win the the Club World Cup, but like they didn't really play any teams in that Club World Cup until they played PSG, who had 70 something games in their season last year, and Chelsea did do okay in that game against PSG. This is no shade on Chelsea. I just think in order for them to really be able to win, especially now that they're going to be back playing Champions League football this season, where they can't do what they did last year, they're going to struggle to keep up with all these youngsters, and like them having to learn how to pace themselves through games and all that kind of stuff. But anything other than that, like I think there's not a whole lot beyond that's going to keep Chelsea, like hold Chelsea back. But I'm going to have a quick look at like some of the other Premier League games for this weekend and see. Like the big one, obviously, is Arsenal Liverpool on Sunday. That game is going to be a hard one to call. I smell draw. Both teams are undercooked at the moment. Liverpool have a better offense than Arsenal, but they haven't like been firing on all cylinders so far, even as an offensive unit. However, it's Arsenal in town. Those boys are going to bring their Sunday best. they're going to bring their Sunday best. They're not going to, you know, Mo Salah, who's been a bit of a no-show in some of these games. I know he scored against Bournemouth. He's going to show up. You count on that. Chelsea, Fulham. I give Chelsea a slight edge there, but I wouldn't be surprised if Fulham found a way to draw that game. He said Stamford Bridge. Yes, I appreciate it. Please do share. And you know, if they don't want to watch a longer one, I tend to do shorts. I do 3-minute videos. You know, because there's too much content, and people don't have time. And to be quite honest, so much of the stuff that many podcasts talk about can be done in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I do love podcasts, no shade. I listen to them, but I don't think yet of my opinions as worthy of being, you know, an hour long. So I try to give people short, but not just sound bites, you know, short but well considered, thought through observations on what I'm seeing. Manchester United, Burnley. Manchester United, I think, are going to get their first win there. I think United will win that one by 2 goals minimum. Burnley will try to do, you know, bids, but United 3 games in after this one without a win. I think United get a win against Burnley, and they break out and they punish Burnley for the first 2 games that were not too good for them. Sunderland, Brentford. That one's going to be a hard one to call. Sunderland spent a lot of money. Brentford, obviously, a well-seasoned Premier League team. But Sunderland are playing at home, so I'm going to give Sunderland a narrow win in that one. That's my prediction. And Tottenham Hotspur, AFC and Bournemouth. I think that's going to be a tight affair. Tottenham are home. They're hot. I think Tottenham will win that one. It won't be a blowout, though. I think Bournemouth will be in the game. But I'm still worried about Bournemouth having not fixed or replaced many of their big departures. So I think Spurs will win that one. So I have a home win for Sunderland, a home win for Tottenham, a home win for Man United, a home win for Chelsea. Everton, Wolves. This is where I think the first away win I'm going to predict. Everton is going to win this one. Wolves haven't started well, and I think they still need to do some business. And the fact that the transfer window closes on Monday, there'll be a lot of players there who are distracted, including their big striker who wanted to go to Newcastle, but looks like he's now going to have to stay because Newcastle signed another player. Leeds United, Newcastle. I'm going to predict an away win there too. I think Newcastle will win that one after the Liverpool defeat. I think they're going to be up for it, and they're going to be. I know they have a few injuries from that Liverpool game, but I like Newcastle for an away win at Leeds. Brighton, Manchester City. I think City will win that one. That's on Sunday. City will win that one by a couple goals. Nottingham Forest, West Ham. I think I can't see beyond Forest winning this one. West Ham are a bit sorry right now. Liverpool, Arsenal. I want to say a narrow Arsenal win, but we haven't won there in 13 years. So I think Arsenal are going to draw away at Anfield. So that would leave Tottenham with the perfect record and nobody else, because Arsenal and Liverpool are the other 2 teams with the perfect record, and they are going to draw against each other. So Tottenham will be number 1 going into the international break. Hooray, they want to win the league. Aston Villa, Crystal Palace. I think Villa will win this one, even though I think it's going to be a close game, because Palace will be dealing with a few transactions, I think, in the last few days of this transfer window, and that might be a bit tricky for them. Anyway, I've gone almost 20 minutes. Holy cow. Okay, I'm going to stop this one here. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and please share, like, subscribe, all the good things. And I'll see you after the Premier League. I'll try to do a live over the weekend after some of these games, but I'll be definitely putting out some shorts. All right, cheers.